Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. My name is MCMZ Crypto and I'm bringing this video for you tonight. Tonight we got so much things to discuss. There's so many things have happened since a couple of weeks ago. Markets have changed and everything is gone down into the red. We're going to be discussing two main altcoins and also the Bitcoin as well as the general markets. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's discuss. First of all, guys, I would like to apologize to you for not posting a video for a significant amount of time. The reason I wasn't posting the videos was because I was not feeling well at all. I had this thing that, you know, the one with the C letter at the beginning, so that really got me. This time it really got me. I was feeling very unwell for a significant amount of time and I could not post any videos, but now I'm back, I'm strong and I'm ready to bring these crypto news to you guys. There's so much happening in the markets, some good things, some bad things, but in general, guys, you know that we are crypto fighters, me and you. We fight no matter what the conditions are. We make the plan, we make decisions, and we make money when the markets are going up or when the markets are going down. So that does really does not bother us. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's discover. So before we go any further, make sure that you smash that like button, you share my videos and you comment underneath, because that helps YouTube to spread this video to the wider audience and helps my channel to build an audience underneath. So yes guys, so many things have happened in the last couple of weeks in the market since I've not been here. I was trading, but I was kind of like holding at the minimum my trades. I was very careful because I was not liking what I was seeing in the market, so I was generally on the short side. But you know, we can make money in these markets both ways, like we already know this. So let's see what has happened in the markets so far. So basically Bitcoin is 17% down in a week, 8% down on a day. Wow, that's huge numbers. Ethereum down 18% and 9% on the day, very similar to Bitcoin. So the only coins that are practically up or negative are the stable coins like USDC and Terra USD. Well, Terra USD is actually down by 3% today, but Binance USD is BUSD is slightly up. Everything else is in a massive downcline. This is very interesting actually. The Terra USD, so the USD coin, has had this massive drop recently because it's supposed to be $1 coin. So what has made it to drop, I don't know, because normally when the generally crypto markets, when they are going down, the altcoins are going up because people are basically searching for the safe havens and they jumping out of Bitcoin and altcoins and they're jumping into the stable coins. So right now it's very interesting to see that Terra USD is actually down. So let's check some news stories and let's see what has happened. So oh yeah, before we go there, look at this sea of red, absolute craziness. Let me move my face a little bit further away. You can see all these altcoins. It's just a complete sea of red. But you know what, guys, you don't need to be worried about this, because unless you're a long-term holder, that could probably hurt your portfolio at the moment. But if you're a short-term trader, this is actually a paradise. This is where you can make so much money. It's huge volatility. It's just that the price is going down instead of it going up. So everything is right now huge opportunities for short traders. So okay, so let's jump into the CoinDesk and let's see what the CoinDesk is talking about. Just a second. So the CoinDesk, the first article that we can see, it says Bitcoin under pressure, support 27 to 30k. Do you buy this? What do you think about that? Do you think Bitcoin's drop will stop here at 27 to 30,000? Well, we are pretty much in the 30,000 area already. So is this where we're gonna stop this drop? Well, I'm not so sure. So let's jump in the charts and let's check out. Right, we are in the chart of Bitcoin, guys. guys, and you can see that we have now broken through this pattern of consolidation. This is not the first time I'm showing these trend lines. These are exactly the same lines and support and resistance areas that we were talking about in my previous videos. And I was saying a very important thing, if you remember, that this trend line down here, you see people were using this as a trend line, and I was saying to them that this support trend line is probably not as strong as it looks, because in general this pattern is a bearish pattern. So what I was saying, I was actually saying that yes, we do need to take this trend line in account, but we cannot count on it 100%. I was saying though, if you remember, that this trend line down here is much more important. And why? It's because the wicks here, we're connecting the wicks rather than the candlestick bodies, and that is my way of drawing the trend lines on the patterns, because they eventually prove to be much more important than the trend lines that hold the bodies of the candles. Okay, so let's just check the video that I've posted a couple of weeks ago, and I was actually talking about it. Let's check it. So if we get rejected by this area, which is very high potential, we might actually drop back down here, and if we don't complete the pattern going up there, there's a higher risk that we're gonna fall through this first line of resistance and further down here onto those price levels. So as we can see, guys, the price was actually holding this level for a little bit, but it could not sustain this trend line, and it actually broke through. So, and now then we came back to this very important trend line that I was talking about. We actually spent some time at this trend line and also at this area of support. As we can see, we spent some considerable amount of time there before we actually broke through it, and then, you know, the floodgates just simply opened. But I just wanted to show you quickly how important actually these trend lines are that I've drawn here. So let's just quickly put the replay mode and let's switch to the 4-hourly chart, and let's go back to 13th of April, actually 10th of April. Okay, so do you all remember, guys, when the price was sort of coming down from this, when it rejected up here at 48,000 and it started coming down? So let's click play and let's see how the price acted. When the price came down to this first trend line, yes, it was respected, but as I was saying, guys, that I don't believe that this is going to be a significant trend line, because I did not believe that the price is going to come back up and go above. I was saying that this is a bearish pattern, it's a consolidation pattern. We are coming in from a massive drop. So let's zoom in and let's see what happens. So bang, at this point, as we can see, the price actually poked through it for the very first time, for the long time, as it was respected here and there. It was respected on the third time, but as I was saying, I did not believe that it's going to be a significant stronghold this time round. So the price actually spiked down, went back up into the pattern, but it was not long before the price started reversing and going back on its course south. So let's see what happened. Okay, so it came back down again. Once it pierced through, the fate was really sealed, and as you can see here, now it was struggling beneath. It was not sort of a quick dip down and then back up. Now once we drop down here on 22nd of April, you can see that the price now was fighting to stay, sort of like fighting it as a resistance rather than coming down and using it as a support, right? So that should be the first indication that we are very, very bearish, and this time around it will probably be a strong resistance, which the price started showing. Then what I was saying, guys, that once the price gets down to here, these are the levels that you saw in the video that I posted a couple of weeks ago. The price will certainly respect it. I'm not saying these are the levels you should long from, but those are the levels once you get there you really need to watch, because they will be important. I guess you could take some short-term long trades, but you know, look, you could have taken a short-term long trade. Look how important it was. It literally came to kiss it, and then once it kissed this area, now we are established bearish. Now the price reversed and went back up to retest this trend line from the bottom, which is very, very bearish, and let's see what happens since then. So this is, we are 29th of April coming into the May. We come back down to this line for the second time. still hold it, we still hold it, but we are in a very much of a bearish trend on a 4-hourly time frame. You know, we hold it one more time, we bounce from it, and bang, we fall through. So this was the first area of support that we were gonna watch if we break, because I was saying if we break this, we break the pattern. So now we've broken not only the first trend line that I was saying not going to be so important this time around, but now we've broken the second one, which is much more important trend line. And I was saying if we get there, then probably, you know, the outlook is downwards, and that's exactly what has happened recently. So now once this happens, I'm very confident that we are coming down to the next line, which is at around 32 to 30,000 area. And let's see the news. At the news, you see here they were saying the Bitcoin under pressure support at 27 to 30k. Well, we are there already. We are already at that level. And the reason they are talking about that being a support is because the price has used it as support before. So they say that the price is going to use it again. I believe that price will respect it, just like you saw the price respecting some of the trend lines I was speaking about earlier. But this time around, it's going to probably slash through it like a hot knife through butter. So let's check. So basically, let's put it on the daily chart. And yes, we can see what they're talking about. There was a previous resistance. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're talking about this 30,000, 27 to $30,000 area. So we can see the price respected it on few occasions. But in my opinion, once we come down to it now this time around, we will probably not be able to hold it. So let's see where we are. Well, yeah, this is the current situation. This is where we are already. So I do think the price will probably have some sort of bounce around here, and it will probably, you know, make maybe some sort of pattern, or maybe some sort of a bearish flag, or whatever the pattern is going to be. But eventually it's going to break it down and come down, and the next level of support is about $20,000. So just give me 1 second, let me take all of this off. So before we go and discuss those type of things, let's check what S&P 500 is actually doing. So this is S&P 500 on the daily chart. You can see that we have been very, very bearish in the recent weeks and days. In the recent days, the bearish action has increased strongly, and the only support area that I can see is coming up very shortly is around $3,800 area. But before we get to it, we still got about 5% to go down. So this is S&P 500, the general markets, and as we know that the Bitcoin usually follows the S&P or the traditional markets, not exactly, but in the trend thesis. So basically, if the general markets are bearish, doesn't matter the patterns, what matters is the direction, and the direction is clearly bearish on the general markets right now. So the Bitcoin in its own way is going to be bearish. So let's check the DXY, which is the dollar index, and this index is usually acting the opposite. So if the dollar is bullish, the general markets are bearish, because people are looking for the safe haven. They seek safe currency, and the safest currency in the world is deemed to be the dollar or the Japanese yen. But right now, currently the dollar is the strongest currency in the world, and you cannot argue that it's crazy bullish. I was actually thinking that when we get to this area here, we will have some sort of bounce around. Sorry, yeah, so we're gonna have some sort of bounce around here before we continue higher. I was actually thinking that maybe we're gonna make this cup and handle type of pattern. So, you know, like this would be a massive cup and this would be the handle, but it doesn't seem that the market wants to do that. It just seems that the market actually wants to just completely break through it and go higher. And if this happens, then without a doubt the S&P will be dropping even lower. And if it drops to 61.8 fib, which is around $38,000 area, and holds it and starts going higher, then all good. But I don't really have much faith that that's going to happen. I think it's going to have a little bounce. It'll probably coincide with Bitcoin bouncing off sort of like, well, around this area anyway, but there is a high chance that we're gonna dip below, because the next level of support is 38.2 fib, which is at around $28,000. A lot of people are actually talking about Bitcoin finding a bounce at around $24,000 to $26,000 area. I'm not so convinced, and I was thinking to myself, why are so many people talking about 24,000 support? They are talking about some specific fib levels that I can't see personally, but I do respect their analysis, and you know, if so many people are talking about it, it must be significant. Although in my analysis, I was saying if we break this sort of 35,000 area and come down to 30 and don't find a significant support there, we are probably coming down to 20,000, and then eventually, if we can't hold it, probably to about $12,000 to $10,000 area. So to give some credence to people who are talking about 26,000 Bitcoin, I thought I'd look into it myself, and the only reasonable explanation I could find was actually a moving average. So let's quickly jump onto a weekly chart of Bitcoin, and let's put on a 200 weekly moving average. As we all know, 200 weekly and daily moving averages are very important moving averages in the markets. Institutions use it, retail traders use it, everybody watches them like a hawk. So what I can see, this is a simple 200 weekly moving average. We can see that the Bitcoin has never ever broke through it and stayed below it. It has come down to kiss it, but it has always bounced back from it. So we can see here in 2018 in December we used it as support, and then later we used it in March 2020 as a support, but we have never really broken through it and kind of like went below. So we're not far from it right now. So what I can see is it's at $27,000. So that is the only explanation I can find that people are talking about why Bitcoin would kind of like stop for a little break or a pause. But I mean, you know, there's always a first time. So I don't believe that Bitcoin is actually going to hold it. It will definitely bounce off it. And this is where I was saying that I believe the Bitcoin is going to, you know, kind of live here for a while, maybe for some days, maybe for weeks. But eventually, looking at the S&P 500 being so bearish and looking at the DXY index being so bullish, I believe that eventually we're going to break it. We're going to break this 200 and we're going to come much, much lower. So then we can really say that Bitcoin is in the bear market. It hasn't happened just yet, but I do have a feeling that that will probably, you know, that is on the cards for us, guys. Just a second. Yeah, so when it actually happens, I believe that Bitcoin is going to come down to a $20,000 area. 20,000 is a previous stop in 2017. So not only that it's a psychologically round number, it's also an all-time high from 2017. So I do believe, and it's also a Fibonacci level, and oftentimes crypto markets use 23.6 Fibonacci level as a sort of like big structural, big trendy move support. In traditional markets, 23.6 Fib is normally seen as a very bearish, so if the price comes down to touch it, there is more downside expected. But in this scenario, with this being Bitcoin, and the 23.6 Fib being at around $20,000 area, I believe that it could actually be a support. For how long, who knows? That depends on how the world's economic situation and financial situation is at the time when the Bitcoin gets down to this $20,000 area, because there really is a potential that Bitcoin may come down much, much lower. So let me actually move my face away from you guys so you can see. So let's talk about the VPVR. So the VPVR, as we know, most of my support and resistance areas, when I draw them, I use VPVR. It's very reliable indicator. You can't get it for free on the trading view. It's a paid indicator, but I have found it very useful in my analysis. So this is where still in the weekly chart of Bitcoin, we can see that the real VPVR resistance is at around $8,000, which is absolutely crazy. Well, actually there's some at 12,000, but there is nothing, absolutely nothing in between. There are some fib levels, there are some structure levels, but the real volume, the real money that's traded, a huge amounts, there is nothing really up until we come down to about 12,000. So I wouldn't be too surprised if it actually happens, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this and say it's never going to happen, but you know, we'll talk about it if and when it happens. So that's why I have been out of cryptos for good 5 to 6 months. I have actually sold my cryptocurrencies before Christmas this year, November, December time. Once we dropped to around these areas, I started selling. I sold 50% there, and then as we dropped lower and had this bounce up, I've sold more. So currently I'm 100% in dollars because I saw that this is not looking good. So even the situation right now, I mean, people would say that $30,000 is a very strong support, and it may well be, and we're coming close to this 200 weekly moving average, and maybe it's not a bad place to dollar cost average. But looking at everything that's happening in traditional markets right now, everything is bearish. So there's no reason for me to start buying in whilst we are going down, because there are no bullish signs. I believe that this time around we're probably going to go lower. That's just my opinion. It's not financial advice by any means, but I'm more bearish than bullish, much more bearish. The picture is clear for me. Unless something changes, unless we start seeing some moves to the upside, you know, from here we start bouncing and actually breaking these previous highs and creating some more new structural moves, then I will change my opinion. But traders have to react of what they see in front of them. They can create strategies and plans, but you know, one plan might be that everything's going to go up, or the plan might be, the second one might be that it's going to go down, the third one might be that we're going to consolidate. So if I had to pick them and give some percentages of realistically what's going to happen, I would say it's 70% that we're going to go down, 10% that we're going to go up, and 20% that we're going to consolidate. So that's probably what I'm thinking. So okay, enough with Bitcoin right now. Let's check some altcoins, guys. I know that you want to see alt. So we were talking about Matic, and we were talking about Matic whilst we were still in this downclining triangle. Let's put it on a daily time frame. And do you remember the previous videos? In one of my previous videos we were discussing this, and when we were in the middle of this triangle, let's just turn off the EMA. We were planning for some long trades off this support level, but I did say that this is probably a very dangerous place to long, because the triangle is with the pressure downwards, as we can see, and this flat line of support has been tested on so many occasions, many more occasions than the upper line, which makes it weaker. The more times the levels are tested, the more likely that the price is going to break it. And that's exactly what happened on 26th of April. Once it actually broke through, this was a good time to put in the short. I didn't, because I was not feeling well. I was ill at the time. But oops, sorry. As you can see, this line, this area of support was actually there for a long time, and you can see that we came to this. This was $1 area. We came to retest it, to test it. Basically, we bounced up by how many percent? 17%. That's a huge amount, really. But you know, I would have probably not been trying to catch this move up. I would rather be looking for shorting opportunities, because the price was so bearish. And as we can see here, price actually bounced off here, and it didn't even reach 61.8 fib, which means the price was very bearish before it actually you know, reversed to the downside and came through these lows, and now we are much lower. So analysis for Matic. I mean, I don't see any support until we get to the about 45 cent area, 45 to 27. I mean, this is what it looks like to me, that we are definitely coming down to these areas. Or as an ultimate low, it's going to be about 12 to 13 cent, you know, in between. Yeah, about 10 to 12 cents. It's very possible that the Matic is going to come down. It will certainly, when we get down to 45, we'll have a bounce, but as I say, I believe that we're going to go further down unless markets change direction significantly. Now, Solana, what's happening with Solana? So right here, we can see that on 23rd of March we actually broke through, and when we went in a bullish uptrend until we were met with a huge resistance at $140 area. Sorry, so this red area, and then we kind of like trickled down. Oops. Yeah, so we haven't reached the $60 area just yet, but we are very close to it. So I believe we're gonna come down to this area, have a little bounce around, and ultimately come down to about $30 area, if not lower. But I think Solana is such an important project. At one point it was at $250, and now we are down at 66. I think it will be a great buying opportunity once we get down to around $30 to $33 area. We'll certainly be buying more, but at the moment we're still very bearish. Some people may say, oh yeah, I'll be dollar cost averaging right now with it. So not a bad idea. That's fine if you want to lock in your money for a longer term, because we don't know whether we're gonna come. Yeah, so we don't know whether we're gonna come into it and then bounce straight off it, or we're gonna come into this area, consolidate, then drop lower, consolidate, and then start going up. I believe that we're gonna have very much a lot of time, lots of opportunity to buy cheaper. So I don't think we should be dollar cost averaging into it just yet. I mean, at the moment we are at $60, so if we drop down to 30, that's like 50% loss. So even if when you dollar cost average, why would you want to lose that much? I would much rather set some buy orders, let's say here at 45, then another one at 32 or $33 area, and that way you buy little by little, and then you watch day by day what is happening. So if we're consolidating, then maybe find even lower areas to buy in and go ahead that way, because there is no point rushing. Right now there are no signs of bullishness. Right now everything is crazy bearish. Let's see what tomorrow is going to bring to us. Let's see what the next week is going to bring to us. Let's create a plan and trade the plan. That is the only way to stay successful and profitable in trading long term. So guys, it's been a very long video. We discussed a lot of things. Thank you very much for staying in and watching till the end. I really appreciate it. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and you share these videos with your friends who might be interested in cryptocurrencies. There'll be plenty more coming out from me, and thank you very much, and enjoy your evening, and I'll speak to you probably tomorrow. Bye.